Okay, and we are live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, out there in Blab world. Brian Wells here, president and founder of NowSourcing, joined here today with Scott Jordan, CEO of SCOTTeVEST. How you doing, Scott?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being our first guest on the live Blab stream for our South by Southwest content that we're going to be rolling out from now right up until the South by Southwest date, which is, for those of you who aren't paying attention out there, March 11th. So we're trying to give people a little bit meatier content as opposed to kind of one of two things that I found out there in the world of South by Southwest. Either you have way too little information where people are just writing really baby basic level, like wear sneakers and drink water because it's hot in Texas, kind of junk like that. Or you have South by Southwest itself putting stuff out there where there's not really a level of prioritization because they're saying, here's the lineup of 5,000 people, and they'll show you like the keynotes and stuff like that. But I've found that over the years in the trenches, this personally for me and my business, this is gonna be our 7th year going. I've gone, I think since 2008, 2009, and might have missed a year in there. But point being, every year we get a little better, we learn a little bit more. And Scott, I believe this is actually your first year coming, right?
It is indeed, yes,
Yeah.
in part because of a conversation I had with Guy Kawasaki and then with you. And
Sure.
the deposit was put down and, here I am, so.
Outstanding. So that's got to be exciting. But, for those of you who don't know Scott has a very well-known online clothing company where it's all about pockets and freedom. And I'll let you talk about that more. But my point here is Scott is well-versed in how to market, how to sell. This is certainly not Scott's first foray into trade shows. This is really just his first South by Southwest experience. So could you tell everybody just a little bit about you, your background, how you guys came to be?
Yeah, SCOTTeVEST was formed 15 years ago to solve a very simple problem. I was frustrated with how I carry all my devices. I was always patting myself down saying, where's my keys, where's my phone, and asking my wife. And I was a miserable lawyer practicing law in Chicago and looking for something else to do, another business. And it occurred to me that I could solve the problem for myself and solve not only the problem where to carry my stuff, but you solve the problem of my freedom. And by starting SCOTTeVEST and having my own business, I was able to formulate a solution to both of those things. So I didn't know it at the time, but we were the first apparel brand formed on the internet, direct to consumer.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just by accident. It was just like, okay, I got to come up with an idea, and I didn't know how to sell it, and let's e-commerce enable our website, and lo and behold, we did really well in large part. Hey guys, just quiet, please. Just as quiet as possible. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all about being live. It's okay. All good.
Okay. So in any event, that was how we got started, and we went to a number of trade shows when we first started, but I hadn't done many trade shows since then until this year, when I recognized in order to build my audience, because and customer base, which I imagine a lot of your people who are watching might not have heard of SCOTTeVEST. Go to SCOTTeVEST.com, and so this is the way to do it: is get out there in front of people. We live in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho, and yet there aren't a lot of people here, so I got to get out there, and that's why I'm going to South by.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott and I were just also kind of rapping about a couple of things right before we went live. We talked a little bit about the role of a CEO and the positive face of a company. People, in my opinion, do not like to do business with a soulless brand where everybody just hides behind the logo and they have PR approved nonsense. Scott and I are both a little bit outspoken, maybe Scott a bit more than I, but you've been doing a little more than me, man. But I think we can speak to this, that you have to go out there. You have to meet the people. People want to know who they're doing business with, and they want to know what they're getting, right? Because you're never just selling the product, you're selling yourself and you're selling the benefits. So I think any kind of trade show, any kind of South by Southwest experience, I think you're going to do great at this, man. I really have high hopes for you guys at this show.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've been trying to get there for years, and people have been telling me to get there, but you know, I don't know what I just don't fully understand it. Is it a music festival? Is it a commercial thing? Or, you know, I have no idea what to expect. I'm just going to go in there, you know, and try to make the most of it. I'm told that, you know, you got to maximize your opportunities, so you got to plan in advance. Right. And with as much as we have going on, we have got a really cool thing happening. I was meaning to tell you about. You know, we're creating this hologram for our trade show booth.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you saw on Facebook, I posted at CES, there was this hologram, and they had people, it was like the Matrix. I mean, things were floating in the air. It was, so I thought, you know, we use a lot of X-ray imagery with, you know, your gadgets and your SCOTTeVEST. And so, you know, it occurred to me after seeing it at CES, I got to have this because, you know, I posted a video of it, and within like 2 days, it had 90,000 views and
wow.
More than 1,000 shares. So I figured, if for no other reason, people are going to hold up their camera and start to video this hologram, that even if the trade show sucks for us in terms of selling stuff, you know, just the viral content that we would get from that would be off the charts. And I'm talking to some of my buddies. You know, Robert Scoble is a very close friend, and we're going to try to find a way to take that hologram out at night and move it to one of the clubs, where the music is happening.
Nice.
You know,
okay.
And not just make it a SCOTTeVEST commercial, like it'll say, you know, party safely or enjoy South by, brought to you by SCOTTeVEST, and then you'll see the rotating, you know, SCOTTeVEST with the X-ray imagery. So that's one way I'm trying to think outside the box and getting maximum exposure for the event, among others. So.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. And, you know, I think it's okay to not have a plan at all isn't great, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying you don't have kind of all the burdens of knowing everything about the history of it. So yeah, it very much started as a music festival, and then a bunch of guys got together and they just kept amping it up every year. So they've added 2 other pieces to it. There's the film piece, but the piece that you and I, and really this audience, what we're talking about, what we're interested in is the South by Southwest interactive part, which starts at the beginning of it, which is on Friday, March 11th. So just right down the road from our calendar now. So yeah, absolutely. It's pretty amazing. I think it brings the city of Austin about $250 million a year. I'd say it's probably a couple 100,000 people. When you consider there's several very large colleges in the area, and it's spring break, and it's St. Patrick's Day. So it's kind of like just an enormous party and food and music festival. But interactive itself is not quite as large, but there's different things going on. There's keynotes and there's sessions and startup venues where everybody's trying to get everybody's attention. And there's also, as you and I are attending, a very massive trade show, not a CES level trade show, because it's not the only piece of the show. There's probably, memory serves me, probably about 50, 60,000 people that go to it, which is still pretty massive. But the thing about South by, there's kind of 2 kinds of people. There's people that have kind of given up with it, and they're like, no, it's not a secret anymore. And, you know, it's not cool anymore because everybody knows about it and it's gone too corporate. And then there's people like myself that keep coming back and say, great, I'm glad it's corporate a bit, because that means people want to put money in it. And for me, it's like, hey, I could go fly to 30 different venues, or I could go to this one. And I know everybody that I want to do business with, everybody that's interested in my product, likes to go to this. And we have a good time. We can go out at night. You know, Austin's got a great party scene. It's got all sorts of music going on, all sorts of live music. Any kind of your favorite band probably is playing there. You know what I'm saying? So there's just so much opportunity there. And Austin just in and of itself has grown tremendously over
I've never been to
Austin, and they didn't really build for it.
I'm looking forward to going. You know, I've always been told it was just a massive party, and you know, I'm at an age now where, you know, I don't need another massive party. And again,
totally.
You know, I was told that effectively about Burning Man, and what an incredible experience that was for me. So I think you got to experience it once. And you know, so we have a 10 by 20 booth. We're going to try to sell products there. You know, I'm not sure if we're going to physically bring in products or just encourage people to check out the products and then buy online. I'm interested in your thoughts on that. because bringing in actual physical inventory it's kind of a pain to deal with, and making sure you have enough and everything else. And given the fact it's Austin, it's hot, who wants more clothing to drag around with them? So what are your thoughts on that, out of curiosity?
Yeah, great questions. So I think you can absolutely sell. So as long as you have some kind of point of purchase, and I know you've been asking this to your crowd, and yeah, I mean, it's very easy. As long as you have a smartphone and a Square reader or something to that effect, it's super simple to get people to pay. I like what you're saying in terms of strategy, where you're right. It's a huge pain to get all sorts of product there, and then you have to worry about sizing and styles. I mean, that's complicated, right? And how do they pick the right one? I think that it's good to show people something, because the thing that e-commerce can't do is have control of all 5 senses. So if people can see it and have the actual product integration, be able to wear it, try it on, I think that because it's Austin and it's hot, even though it's March, it's already going to be, spring, summer kind of weather. It doesn't make sense to have like a huge coat, but to have like a light vest, maybe to have some of the lighter shirts and pants and shorts, maybe just to have like a basic assortment, not necessarily for sale, but just so people can get it. I would probably, though, suggest having some level of stuff to have.
Yeah, I mean,
because I know people are going to want it.
That we can bring out there when we have t-shirts and performance wear stuff. It's just hard to figure out the size breakdown, and I have no idea how much we can count on selling. And it's obviously easier if we could just encourage people to make a purchase online and provide a methodology for it. But I really fully expect that the level of excitement for the hologram is going to be off the charts. I mean,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, without question.
That's just going to be holding up their camera and just shooting it. And I don't know if I can share my screen on Blab or not. I don't think I can, but if I could, I would.
Yeah, I don't believe you can, but I mean, if there's like a laptop or something you can hold up, or if you want to put a link in the lower right for people that they can check it out later. Okay. If you want to put the link to the video, I think that would be really useful for people to check it out. Right. And we can do a recap of that later. But yeah, I think there's kind of 2 main things that I would say about South by. One is everybody's trying to get everybody's attention. It's no secret that, this was the launch pad of Twitter. Say whatever you will about Twitter today, but Twitter is a medium. It's here. I think it's here to stay. And it launched there. It existed in some way, shape, or form, but all the influencers and the technologists and the digital and the creative, that was the place for the birthplace of it really expanding to the modern world in 2007. A couple of years later was when Foursquare became a thing. And again, okay, maybe Foursquare is having issues again, but the point of the matter is,
the place
right, but the reality
where big brands go to start and then later die.
I'm not sure about the last part, but the point is that you have an audience. I remember a few years back when the iPhone really got popular, there were so many people on the iPhone, it basically crashed the AT&T grid, and they had to bring in a bunch of like emergency equipment. So you have so many influencers, like you're saying, Scoble. There is an influencer piece of this. Many celebrities come to this, and there's just so much activation that happens at this. So that's what I'm saying. I like to call it almost like the modern day World's Fair. So just to get exposure, you don't just need exposure. I think you actually need people to buy and try it on and sell and all of that. But there is a tremendous amount of news that revolves around the place. A lot of innovation happens around there. It's kind of like an escalation where everybody's trying to outdo everybody. But I don't remember anybody doing a cool hologram thing like what I saw you guys doing at CES. So I think that's going to stand out. The other thing that I would advise you guys and really anybody who's listening is to try to get anybody to focus. Focus is such a valuable commodity at South by Southwest, because everything is in lights and everything is larger than life and everybody's going crazy. So to just try to catch somebody in the moment is really difficult, but when you can have amazing discussions. We've done all sorts of business and partnerships over the years there. So that's really what it's about. And I think, Scott, that you're onto something good, because it sounds like you're ready to activate a lot of friends that you have a very large following. People are interested in what you're doing in the day-to-day and even the moments in between the official pieces. And then, talking to folks like Guy Kawasaki, people like Scoble, I think, I'm sure they're happy to go around wearing SCOTTeVEST full of, all sorts of gadgets and everything. So I think there's a lot of cool things you could do with that. Maybe you could do treasure hunt types of things. I think that there's
Samsung that provided a service that they swap out your batteries. you text them and they would swap out your batteries. I'm pretty sure of your phone. Obviously.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't hear about that one. That's a wonderful idea. It's very smart.
Yeah, and actually, I'm trying to remember. We were in touch with the people that coordinated that, and now that I'm remembering, those people should all be wearing SCOTTeVEST. So if I could provide the people who swap out your batteries, embroidered a SCOTTeVEST, because there's lots of pockets, it can have a lot of batteries, and so we got to. I kind of feel like I just got to get there one season and one time, and then get a lay of the land and
exactly.
Out, whoa, okay, this is good stuff. And then right after South by, we're hosting an event here in Sun Valley called Dent.
Oh, nice.
It's a conference that we're partially sponsoring, Dent the Universe, with some folks. So I'm going to be running back and forth. I was almost going to miss our opening party, and then we're going going right from South by to San Francisco for an event, and then we go back here. It's a crazy travel season for us. So
I don't even know how you do it sometimes, man. I'm going to give you, you'll notice I'm giving you a bunch of props in the corner.
Oh, it's
you just click on the person. Yeah, that's what that is. So different people come along.
It appears like you have none now. So there, right?
Well, maybe everybody doesn't want to tune in Monday morning or something, and we kind of did the spur of the moment and all that. But I think it's great value. I think you're going to learn a lot. I think, just like you're saying, every time I do a show for the first time, I don't always do a booth first, but I'll just kind of walk the show. I'll walk the event, get the feel, figure out what kinds of folks are coming to it, feel what the flavor is. So I'm always trying to figure out what I'm doing next, what I'm doing for next year. So I think you guys are going to learn so much. I predict you're going to be very successful at this, but the amount that you're going to learn from what to do next is going to be phenomenal.
We had to pull a lot of strings to exhibit there. I mean, we tried to exhibit there, and they said no. They just said no. We don't see your connection to South by. You're not music. You're not art. You're not whatever. And I emailed Guy. I'm happy to call my close friend, and he's like, I'm going to take care of it. Within 2 minutes, they're like, we'd love to have you. It helps to have little friends. I mean, so. But we're psyched, and I appreciate you having me on Blab. I got to figure out how to use this Blab thing. Years ago, I used to do SCOTTeVEST with this service called Stickam, which was like.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was a good one. Yeah.
And I used to just turn my computer on all day long, and I would censor myself as best I could. And anyone who wanted to just see what I was doing. Most of the time I'd just be typing away, and occasionally I'd be bitching at someone or another. But so maybe I'll bring it back with Blab, so that if people want to know what I'm doing at any particular time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Facebook Live is good. I think Periscope is good. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Blab is just a whole other animal, because in addition to the two of us talking, you can actually have a four-way chat. You can lock and unlock
Facebook Live, because I'm just talking at people. I feel like
it's just you, right?
Annoying.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth checking out, Scott. I certainly think that you would have an audience here. I think Blab is still relatively new, but I'm always looking for, I don't hang out on every social network, but once I see that there's some level of basic adoption beyond like the couple geeks that always do everything, then I want to make a move at it. So I'm not saying it's like the level that like Snapchat is at or anything like that by any means, but I'm telling you, people like it. It's very useful. It's very versatile. You can get multiple people on it. It's really dynamic like that. You can broadcast it off your phone. I like the little props and motivation. We don't have a huge audience though, but sometimes
I wish it had share my desktop. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not a way to do that yet, but it is in beta. So chances are they're working on it. So far, I don't remember seeing a way to do that or seeing anybody doing it yet, but I agree with you. I think that would be a phenomenal add to such a network. Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Well, I do want to respect your time. I thank you so much for joining in today. And somebody saying, John is saying that you can do it with ManyCam. Okay, apparently there is a way to do it. We'll have to
I've tried ManyCam and Cam Twist, and I've had problems with those. But maybe they've gotten better. I tried them 7-8 years ago, and it was always an issue. But I'll try ManyCam.
Right.
now. So, well, thank you very much for your time. And I'm loving the infographic stuff. We should probably talk offline about where I'm at on that, so I can let you know what's going on. So,
absolutely, man. Would love to hear it. Any final words for the audience about South by, aside from just the excitement?
I'm super stoked. So,
cool.
Look, watch for me. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Guys, you got to watch out for Scott. Scott's going to be just, I imagine, so much fun and so entertaining at this show. I know whenever he sets out there to get his mind to do something, he's going to do it right. So keep an eye on Scott from SCOTTeVEST. I'm sure you're going to see everybody with loads of pockets and all, just stuff that it doesn't stick out of your pocket. So you understand, guys, it's something that you don't even see that people are carrying entire computers. It's amazing. And I really think that this is the kind of audience that would really take to it, that people are going to come with 2 suitcases and they're going to throw their suitcases in the lake because they don't need them by the time they wear some of the stuff. So my parting words would be, I think this is a great fit. I'm surprised that South by Southwest even thought about turning you down, because it's such an obvious fit. I would have screamed up a storm if I heard that beforehand. But again, I will leave people with the 2 things: trying to hit that larger than life thing, whether that is just that you have an awesome product or service, or that you have a great kind of holographic VR kind of display, next level tech sort of thing. And then the piece that everybody forgets about, which is to just try to get people to focus, because everybody's running around like they can't focus on anything. If you can get people to focus, you will get incredible attention at this kind of event. It's the most often overlooked piece that seems like common sense, and it's almost like, why is Brian even talking about it? But you'd be amazed. Everybody's just like looking around. Oh, who's the cool guy that's wearing the badge? It's almost like being a woman and just imagine you have like large breasts or something. Everybody's looking from badge to badge, trying to see if you're like the celebrity influencer, because they're just trying to get celebrity pics. In any case, I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll have this recapped up on our site and going out our newsletter and be on the blog. Scott, can you hear me? Did we lose you? Okay, well, we're going to go. See you guys later.